Well, at the end of last week I was saying we've got to make a battery box, didn't I? So, yeah, I made a battery box. But we had a little bit of an issue with this battery box, and that was because what was there was something that someone had cobbled up. It was absolute load of junk. So it all got chucked away, got cut off and chucked away earlier on the thing. So if you sort of come around, you'll see, you know, there's nothing there. No battery box. So I had nothing to work with. But, because I've got the other car here, there's one in that, so we could do that. So we'll have a look at the actual battery box I've made. So we did have the cover, and we did have the rubber strap for it. So that was all good. So there's the box I've made. So if these catches made up onto it so that we can put the rubber strap on it. This bit has to go on it. That's what takes the cable and insulates it when it goes through, the live cable. That recess, that's where the earth cable spot welds onto it. They're normally been cut off and mucked about with, so we'll look at that another time. I've got to make one. Now to make this pressing in it, do all that, and then sort of fold it all up. So, and then it has to have this sort of bit so it lines up with that. So that sort of sits on there like that, all lines up with that, and then that edge lines up with that. That's how they work. That's what you get. And I've got to obviously got to make the bits that go in there to sort of tie it all in, so it'll sit in there like that effectively. Luckily, I was able to copy this one. So let's have a quick look at that, and we'll see what we got. So we can see what goes on. So to make it, I made up a paper template. So you've seen me do these before, and I use those little magnets to hold it all together. So, you know, made it up in bits and then stuck it together because you need to, you know, to try and do it in one go is a bit awkward. So you can sort of pattern it out and work it out and so on. And this is where those recesses go for the tangs and so on. So that was that bit. That was my prototype. That was my first one out of the box, which was good, but wasn't quite right. And one of the problems I had was where I made this piece, well, effectively that pulled this in too much, so I ended up losing that line. So you can see that line's not straight. So that's one of the issues. And then other things like getting these just about right. So yeah, so that's a test piece effectively. But you know, that's what you have to do. So now I've got a pattern for it. So that's effectively the pattern. And I've added on the extra bit there so that when I chased that in, it didn't shrink and pull it in. And then I cut it down to size where I need it. So that's that lot done. So that looks good. Pleased with that. And then a couple of extra tangs. I thought I'd make a couple of spares whilst we're at it. That's for holding that thing down. There's my tooling. So that's the little bit of tooling that I made to enable me to make that piece, to make that piece there. So I was able to do that, and then you can put that on, clamp that down, and then chase that into there to give me that shape. That's a quick way of doing it. But you can see then I cut that to suit. But obviously with trying to clamp that with that narrow edge on it, it all just pulled in. So you can see how that did that. It pulled in like that and ended up not straight anymore. So you can see what I was dealing with there. So that's that bit. What's that for? It's not for eating. Tell your kids don't eat it. Yeah, this is left over from when my kids were, you know, playing with this stuff. And it actually is very useful for various things. Working out, you know, how much cutout you've got on the top of the piston, whether the valves are going to clash with it and things like that on a dry build. You can use it for all sorts of things. But this, what I used it for, was to work that lot out, didn't I? To work out what I've got to make there. So that shape is down in here. Now you're going to struggle to see it, but you might just see it if you look down through there. How am I going to get a pattern on that to see that shape? Not going to be very easy, is it? So what I did was I put that in there like that, squidge it up, push it in there, and then take that out. Then now we've got our shape, haven't we? So we've got something to work with. So I thought that was good. So that's gave me something to work with. And that's why you're not allowed these in prison, you see. They're not allowed Play-Doh in prison, in case you get an imprint of the keys. Probably seen too many films, haven't I? They actually use a bar of soap, don't they, and push the key into that. I don't expect they have keys in prisons anymore. Probably all done with, you know, electronic locks. But anyway, joking aside, that's what I used that for. So that sorted that out. And then, of course, we've got to do this, haven't we? See this floor here? That panel's got to be made. And that's got another one of these little recesses in it. You see it's got that shape in there? Which is a bit easier to pattern that, because I can sort of see that, can't I? But if we do just, you know, just humour me, and we'll do the same with this, shall we, just to sort of see it. Use this to get a pattern of that, can't we? So if we just knead it down into there like that. There we go, we've got something to work with, haven't we? Apart from I made it all dirty now. But you can see the recess, the shape, so you get, you know, it's a useful tool, useful thing for that sort of thing. So I've got to make those that bit of floor up. And the other thing, whilst I'm going on about this, is I've made this out of 1.2. Or, well, that's the one I've made, isn't it? So I've made this out of 1.2, whereas this stuff's more like 0.9. So if you look at that, you can see how it's all damaged. It's all got pulled around and damaged and so on. And the other thing you'll notice, you see these splits here, and you can see how much it moves around. Just, you know, if I just push it, it's all moving around. Well, that is where the brackets go that tie the battery down, that have the battery clamps. Not the clamps for the terminals, but the clamps that hold the thing down, like those things. And you see that's pulled them out. So I've made it out of slightly thicker stuff, so it'll be a little bit more robust and put up with that. So that's good. So I thought that's all right. Do you like that? I think that's good. Now, I haven't taken much footage of actually making it, so there's not a lot to watch. So there's nothing more boring than other people's holiday snaps, is there? So you'll have to suffer mine now, won't you? Enjoy that then. Good night.